Hey everyone, I hope you're doing well. I wanted to share something today that occurred to me whilst I was watching this guy on YouTube. It was interesting. From what I can see, this guy is somebody that flies around on planes, doing exactly what he loves, flying in planes and enjoying planes and geeking out on planes, and he seems to have made some kind of job out of this. And I got puzzled whilst I was watching him because I could really see how passionate he was about what he was doing, and he was on the one hand flying in these rickety kind of old planes that you know probably you and I would be afraid to get on in case they fall out of the sky. And he's like reveling in the experience, and then on the other hand flying you know business class, first class, in these really swanky kind of brand new planes, and getting a real kick out of it all. And I got curious. So I was like, how many people watch this, and how many people are subscribed to this? How many people are like me who are actually enjoying watching this? And I looked on his follower list on Facebook, and it was like 1.3 million followers. And then I went on to YouTube, and I was like, let's see if he's on there. And he was on there as well. He had like 300,000 followers on there. And I was like, wow, this guy is just basically making a job out of what he loves, about who he is. And I started scrolling through. There was 600 videos or so on his YouTube feed going back to when the channel started. And I was looking at sort of what was the difference between the ones that he uploaded at the very beginning and the ones that he was uploading now. And the ones at the beginning were like these 3-minute videos of him sitting on a plane, filming with his camera the engine of the plane as it took off. And I was like, so simple. No airs and graces, just this guy enjoying what he enjoys. And then I looked, and the number of views on it was like 1,300 views. And I was like, wow, there's 1,300 views of this guy filming a plane engine taking off. And that was where it all started. And 9 years on, here he was, much better, filming quality and commentaries and editing and cool stuff that he'd learned in the process. But 9 years on, it had all evolved into this bigger thing that was obviously on some level, well, certainly making him advertising revenue on YouTube, if nothing else. And it really got me reflecting on this idea of validation, which I've been speaking of a lot lately. Because I think a lot of the time what we do is we go, yeah, it's not okay for me to be me. No one's interested in who I am, in what I'm interested in. Is that true? When I look at something like that, which started out as a guy filming a plane engine out of a window for kicks and has now evolved into this thing, and it's just a byproduct of his joy, a byproduct of him being himself. And I think a lot of the time we don't realize that actually there is value just in who we are, not in who we're trying to be. Because if you think about, I was thinking about this, how would you describe that person's career? And it's like, it doesn't really fit into a box, does it? I was thinking about when I did my kind of careers conversations when I was at school, and, the guy would say to me, well, do you want to be a doctor, or do you want to be a lawyer, or do you want to be a nurse, or do you want to be, it was all these kind of recognizable little boxes, and none of which I think really fits any of us, certainly in the way they're described. That's not to say that there aren't people whose joy isn't being a lawyer or an accountant or these kind of traditional careers. Not at all. These are needed things on some level. But it's just to say that there are other boxes that are uniquely us. And I think we often make up those things aren't good enough, that there won't be any living in that there won't be any money in that. But is that really true? Does that hold up to scrutiny? Or is that just another idea that we've made up and we've been conditioned to believe is true? And I think that's what it did for me looking at this. It's like, here was a guy that just was doing what he loved. And lo and behold, he found that there were other people who enjoyed, what he loved too. And just by taking the first step and sharing that love of his thing with the world, he started to connect with his tribe. And I think that's the thing that often happens as we settle into our unique expression. We bring people into our field who are a match to us. We start to find, oh, I'm not the lone weirdo that's just interested in filming plane engines out the window. There are, in fact, 1.3 million followers who enjoy watching that very thing. Well, what if there are followers out there and other people who would enjoy you being you? Not you trying to be something you think you have to be, but you just being you. You sharing your love of whatever it is with the world. I don't care how dumb or silly you might think it is, because there's probably a whole load of other people out there who have equal love or equal joy for that thing that you love and maybe aren't sharing. So I just wanted to share this just to get you curious, and maybe, you might want to do a similar experiment, like go on YouTube and look at some of the things that you look at and maybe enjoy, and see, well, if that person's got a following from it, well, why couldn't you have a following for what you do? And the point is not to get the following. The point is that as you settle into that, you start to see, well, maybe I can make a living from doing that thing. It doesn't have to be something that fits into the tightly kind of bound boxes that we've been led to believe we have to fit into. Maybe it could just be your box, whatever that might be. So just sharing that. Hope it's helpful. Follow on theme from most recent videos. Have a nice weekend, and I'll see you guys soon. Lots of love. Take care.